Hello and welcome to Making Creativity Pay, the podcast where we talk to people in creative industries about how they promote and market their work. I'm Dan Barnett, and this episode I spoke with comedian and performer Max Norman, who's taken his show Coco the Time-Travelling Tart to the Edinburgh Fringe. We talk about creating the character of Coco, making the mix of comedy and art history work, and building an online following, including 250,000 followers on Instagram. I started by asking Max to give a brief introduction about himself.
My name is Max Norman. I would describe myself as a character comedian, but that is rapidly unraveling. And I perform the character Coco the Time-Travelling Tart, who is a fabulous socialite who both lives in the gutter and enjoys the high life and has seen it all from, I don't know, raunchy Roman orgies to futuristic swashbuckling catastrophes. And I've been doing this for around 2 years, and I've been performing comedy properly for 8 years. And before that, I had a very normal job and a very normal life. And now everything is completely mad.
So yeah, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about the character. So something like Coco, is Coco part of you? Or is Coco a completely different person in your mind? Or does that even change across time?
Basically, when I am a character, I'm fully in it. I don't really think about myself, Max. I'm just, give me a wig, a moustache, or a pair of glasses, and I just feel like another person, and I'm in that mode. I'm not thinking about Max or my problems. I have like a 10% radar of like just being a performer going on in my head, like, oh, the energy's falling flat, or oh, you need to sort this cable out. But most of the time I just have a lot of fun pretending and playing being someone else.
With the art history side of things, is Coco a vehicle for you to talk about art history? Or did Coco come first and then you needed something for Coco to kind of be involved with?
So there's a couple of like points to this. So like basically in 2024, nothing was really working in terms of like performing. And I said to my friend, I'm really worried about my career. And he said, Max, what career? And I was like, fair enough. So I got quite depressed in 2024, and like it was a grim February, and I was so frustrated, but also really low. And I'm quite a sort of action orientated person, I would say. But despite that, nothing was working. So I gave myself 90 days to get a new comedy agent. And that was the sort of big push that I needed. And in that time, I just started creating videos and putting them out on social media. And I was doing lots of characters. A lot of my stuff was interacting with people on the street, which I love and still do. And one of the characters was this person called Coco the Time-Travelling Tart. It was originally Coco the Time-Travelling Slut, but I rebranded. I don't know if I could say that, but there we are. So me and a friend, a comedian, basically helped each other. We would record like an hour worth of footage of each other around London, and then we'd swap. And a video of Coco going into the National Portrait Gallery, talking about King Charles's chubby fingers, happened to go viral, and I just replicated the format. And I've just been going down this insanely fascinating rabbit hole since. And the longer answer is that my mum's an artist, and she used to drag me around galleries when I was little, and I got so bored. I have like quite a low tolerance for boring spaces and a brain which just wants to sort of do stuff and play and fiddle around. So I think Coco is my revenge joy, as it were. So I think it came from my subconscious. There's loads of like things that influence it. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the Fringe. So it's mid-June now, so we're about 6 weeks away. So
Yeah.
everything's going to fully get up. You've got two different shows. So one where you're touring galleries, which is a bit more like what you do on a regular basis.
hmm
I don't know if you want to talk about that one first.
Yeah. So very exciting. I am partnering with the National Galleries of Scotland, and I'm going to be doing a 45-minute comedy highlights tour of the National Portrait Gallery in Scotland. So we're diving into Scottish history, Scottish stories, Scottish scandal, and I can't wait. The first one of the portraits, there's just an amazing portrait of Mary, Queen of Scots, and it doesn't get more scandalous and exciting than that. But then also we're going to be doing another tour, which is in the National Galleries, which is the separate building, and that's more of a sort of journey through, I guess, like different types of art and Renaissance to Romantic to Rococo, Impressionist, modern, and stuff. So that's going to be slightly different feel, but both are going to be fun.
Yeah. And when you're dealing with, kind of institutions, it's not just on the street. Is there anything they kind of say, you could do what you want, but we reserve a right to say no?
Um, yeah, I mean, I can do what I want. Like most of the time, like my aim is like I have like a I like you know anarchy is an interesting word, but like the word I like more is playfulness. So most of the things I do with my comedy and my work is just one big invitation to play. I just want people to have fun and immersive. So I guess most of the stuff I pitch, I try to put myself in their shoes, and and then um, generally it's all been fine. I'm not touching the art. I'm not trying. Well, I'm not trying to steal it. Apart from the time Coco went to the Louvre last year, and she may have run away with a few precious gems. Um,
How do you find the kind of tour compares with doing the show in that there's an element of, I guess it is quite literally crowd work where
yeah.
you've got an audience and you're dealing with them. But obviously it's it's probably much more interactive on a tour. And do you kind of try and find that one person who kind of interacts with you well and kind of understands the kind of rules of improv, as it were?
So I'd actually say my comedy show is extremely interactive as well. I've just got this. I've just got this. I love it. Do you know why I love it? Is I love the interaction in all aspects of life, because so much of my life in this crazy world of comedy, there's so much effort and work that goes into it, and there's a lot of creative control you have. But actually, with improv, with interaction, you don't know what's going to happen, and that I find extremely exciting. Um, I try and include everyone. Obviously, if someone's got their arms crossed and they're sitting at the back, then naturally I'm going to come for them because I'm like I'm like a magnet to discomfort. No, I'm kind of kidding. But on the tours, I try to include everyone. I try to talk with everyone. Sometimes I'm literally walking arm in arm with different people from one particular painting to the next and getting to know people. I love that. Um, People are fruitcakes. We're all the same, even the people hanging on the walls and the people on the tours. Like we're all nutters in some way. Um, and on the comedy show, generally, I think you might agree. If you're sitting in the front row, then you're gonna probably be invited to play.
And so yes, some days you're doing two tours and a show. Uh, Are you kind of prepared for that? That's a lot to take in. Just doing one show a day is a lot. Kind of, and then obviously trying to sell the shows as well. It's a lot to get in.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think some days I'll be doing 4 shows, believe it or not. I'd say, yeah, I'm quite worried about that. I've got to be honest. Like, but I have a lot of energy, and I'm trying to get physically fit. Um, the one thing I'm worried about is walking around in high heels so much this year. I have had calf muscle strains, and I'm having to do like calf muscle raises as I'm going about London, like on the stairways of the underground, just quickly like stop and boop, 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 and dip up and dip down. So I think I am worried about it. I once did a Fringe where I did 2 shows, like a proper show and then a free Fringe one, and I had to can off the free Fringe one because it was just too much. But I just think let's go for it. It's there's no better time to, it's 25 days or 28, how many, like, you can sleep afterwards and just have a laugh. Like, I think we'll be fine.
Do you think there'll be a lot of cross promotion between the two?
Yeah, I think so. Say to the people in the comedy shows, if they're still alive, come on a tour, and likewise, anyone on the tours come to the comedy show. So I think that's part of the reason why I think it can work, is that cross pollination.
And in terms of other promotions, so posters, flyers, all that kind of stuff, is that all in hand or still TBC?
No, that's we've got. I've taken out some paid advertising, which is scary, but I think it's needed for a variety of reasons. And I think apart from like I like to meet people, so I might be going out a couple of hours before my show, just handing it out. It's fun. If I'm just simply too knackered, then maybe I'll try and bring in a flyering team. But I always find this is tricky because they're just, unless they've seen your show and they like you, they're not really invested. And the other thing is just social media. Like, you can reach people direct to their phones now.
I mean, that was one of the things that's particularly of interest. I kind of talked to a lot of people about social media, but you're probably one of the people who's got the biggest following of people I've spoken to. I know you said about that video going viral. Was it then, once you've got a bit of momentum, you can keep it going, or is there like sudden spikes and then troughs? You just kind of hit gold one in 10, say.
Yeah. It's really, I love talking about this. Like, the most important thing, and I didn't know this when I was doing it, I just, all looking back, is just finding one format that works. And I'm now watching a lot of comics who I know doing a lot of experimenting, and once you find a format that then goes viral, replicate that format. And they're like, I do a podcast called Tart Talk, and my co-host Queerlyn suddenly shot up to like 25,000 followers, and it's quite a rush going viral for the first time. It really hits the adrenaline, the dopamine. I was checking my phone like every hour. It was insane. But then it does plateau, and then it goes up and it plateaus. So it's this constant thing, and you've got to keep it fresh and keep having fun. And that very, very tricky thing of just trying to keep everything light and playful, because when you grip everything too tight, and this is where I've had such a journey over the past 2 years, like, you can really kill the vibe. But yeah, there's a lot of there's everything to be gained from social media, having fun on it.
Do you have kind of different strategies for the different, TikTok versus Instagram, or do you kind of find you'll do one thing and it works well across the board?
Yeah. I mean, like, if I had more time, I could dedicate it to really like honing like channel specific content. But at the moment, it's like, I have a reel, I write a caption, upload to Instagram, bosh, upload to TikTok, bosh, and then maybe YouTube Shorts. So I don't, but generally, Instagram is highly visual, and everything should look nice and la 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 la. Whereas TikTok, like, quick and dirty, talking to the camera, low effort, low edit, tends to do incredibly well and get lots of engagement.
Do you almost see it as a job now, that you need to produce X pieces per month, and you're going to have some 2-minute pieces, some 30-second pieces, and all that kind of stuff? Or is it just kind of as and when things pop into your head, you just do it, done, and it's out?
So I would love to say like, I had a look the other day, and I think I have over 350,000 followers across all platforms. But despite that, like, I'm still winging it. Like, a lot of creators may appear like they've got a rich system in place, but like, my big constraint at the moment is time. And I would love to be able to just create content all day, but I can't because I'm doing tours and I'm managing that. I I definitely know what works, like, and what I'm seeing change on social media for me, like gallery talking about art and history. Then there's out and about interactions with people that I have. So that's two different things. And then there's live comedy clips as well. So people know I'm a live performer. But there's stuff that happens in the world that, needs a response. For example, I'm getting hundreds of DMs at the moment of people sending me this article about a man in Boston who pretended to be a tour guide talking about art and completely making up everything about paintings. And they're like, is this you? And he's stealing your act and all of this sort of stuff. So I haven't created content around that yet, but it probably is a good idea to make a quick post and respond to it. So I think there's a case for any creator. You have your classic stuff that people have followed you for, and then you have your rapid response content. I sound like and I'm in the armed forces. Rapid response content, but and that's because relevancy is one of the key things with social media, of like making it pertinent to the moment.
And have you found that, having a following that size has opened any particular doors? Get your meetings with people or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I get a lot of DMs, a lot of invitations. So on one side, I'm effectively like running a comedy tour business. So get a lot of requests for private tours, hen parties, but also get galleries reaching out, festival organizers, brands wanting to do collaborations as well. Like, that whole side has opened up enormously.
On that, I can kind of see, you've got your show, but you can kind of see where this would kind of go in terms of theatres and tours, where you give a 90-minute art history tour as Coco. I mean, is something like that in the horizon, or something that you'd be interested in doing?
In what, a 90-minute tour?
So,
So
sort of kind of a more where you go like around regional theatres and you do a proper.
oh, I see. Yeah. I'm thinking about. I've basically, at the moment, I've got a comedy show which is nuts. It's very fringe, and I can go into a gallery or a museum and research and then write a tour. But I'm thinking about a new kind of thing, which means I could go into theatres and could combine maybe the two together in some form. Because there's always going to be a limit to doing a tour with 20 people. Like, you can only do so many, and you can only generate so much money from them, frankly.
We'll leave the Tart stroke slap bit out of it, but in terms of the time traveling, was that just so you could kind of feel that Coco could talk in first person about events rather than being a historian looking at these kind of things?
Yeah, I never thought about it like that. The first ever gig I did, it was like, many of your listeners will know this night, is G&B Comedy. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked Kyle Wallace. I was doing a lot of gigs, character comedy and stuff, trying a lot of stuff out doing. I did like stand up for 2 years just as me, Max. And I think one day I said, like, hey, I want to try this thing. And I turned up with a wig. This is the first time, my first ever appearance of Coco. It was a wig, sunglasses, and I didn't have anything else. So I asked the bar for a bin bag for a dress and a straw for a cigarette. And the bin bag wasn't black, it was clear. Um, and then I just went up, and I could just feel the the energy click. And I started talking about me and history, and it's never been a conscious decision. It's just like it's somehow combined my like love for history and people and stories and scandal with live performance, and the combination for me is absolutely electric. I love it.
So you've had not necessarily Edinburgh Fringe, but you've recently done Adelaide Fringe, and you had Best Interactive Award there. I mean, how was the experience in Adelaide, and how do you think it kind of both helps your Edinburgh experience and kind of how Adelaide is different to Edinburgh?
Yeah. So that was quite a ride going to Australia, and everything happened very quickly, organizing it, booking it, getting the copy, the images, and all of that jazz. Adelaide is the second biggest arts festival in the world after Edinburgh. The town itself is very, very quiet and peaceful. The weather's amazing, and then all these crazy artists arrive. And my experience was I was getting a show on its feet, to be honest. Like creating a new show, which I love the development of a show. Like, I'm always working on my show. It's a show, in my opinion, is never finished because you always discover bits. So I have a lot of fulfillment working on the show. The hustle of getting people in the room is always challenging. And I was also doing gallery tours there as well. So a totally separate project. So I was very, very full on in terms of my time. It was at times like quite overwhelming, but I think it's good to, it's like, I think it's David Bowie who said, like, you should be in the water deep enough so you can just feel the tips of your toes on the bottom, but you don't want to be any shallower. And I think that I've definitely felt like that in Australia. And if you're doing 30 comedy shows or whatever, you're gonna be getting so much better as a performer and seeing other shows, meeting other people, just getting into it all. Like I keep saying, like, keep going down the rabbit hole.
It's been a useful grounding for Edinburgh, but in terms of audiences, do you think there's a difference in kind of the kind of people who come? Is it much more kind of arts focused in Adelaide, whereas Edinburgh is probably going to be a bit more of a mixed bag?
Yeah, Adelaide's smaller. Like, luckily, I've got a following online, so I can direct people to different things I'm doing. But my show in Edinburgh is at 9:45 p.m. at Underbelly near George Square, so that's going to be quite a high octane. It's quite a high octane area anyway. So the people who are coming, there'll be a lot of people after work up for a bloody good laugh versus a gallery, a tour at 2:30 where it might be total nutters, it might be tourists, it might be pensioners. It really varies. There is a difference in audience, and there are some who love both. And there are some who just love the art and the stories, the history, the scandal, and there's others who are really up for a fun late night show.
You said earlier about your podcast, so Tart Talk.
Yeah.
Was that just you kind of felt, well, everyone's got a podcast, I fancy doing it, or was it something you'd wanted to do for a while?
Yeah, as two white guys, we thought what the world really needs is another podcast, but we can't be ourselves. So what we've got to do is dress as women and just have a lot of laughs. Queer Lynn, my co-host, we were just brainstorming. We met I went to one of their gigs, Berlin Nights. I saw them perform, we got chatting, and they're a 1940s inspired act, and I love history, so we thought, well, why don't we do something together? They're from like a working class background in Worcestershire. You can hear my voice. I'm clearly not. So there's just a great contrast, and there's no plan with it. We have this phrase because we've done 2 series now. Series 1 was great. It was a laugh. We were just feeling out. Series 2, we changed the location. We were filming it. We were clipping it up into reels, and we kind of over-engineered it. And like I was saying earlier, like grasped too hard, and it stopped being fun. So we just did our first episode of Series 3 last week, and we've had this like phrase which Queera came up with, which we're going to treat our podcast like an unloved sort of stepsister, that they're there, and we're like gonna like just give that a little bit of love per week, but not sort of give too much because we've got other fish to fry.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult now where podcasts have become so much more like TV, and the kind of production and everything that goes into it. But yes, that's the kind of thing. It's harder to kind of just do audio now. Everything's much more about the clips.
Yeah. Do you clip this up, or are you just pure audio?
Yes, so a clip. I mean, I found that in terms of making an audience, there's the audio side, which you get some numbers, but in terms of reach, clips on Instagram and TikTok obviously do far more. And I kind of find that how people consume what they consider to be a podcast now is kind of completely changed.
Yeah.
Where it was very much audio. There's a guy podcast talks about podcasting is what your ears do when your eyes are busy. It's kind of how he talks about it, but now it's completely different. Now it is much more like TV. And yeah, I mean, have you found that? I think you kind of saying that you don't want to overthink it. You want to kind of keep it relatively relaxed.
I think so. Like for example, I started listening to the Ramesh Ranganathan podcast, and that is serious like production in terms of like video. Have you listened to it at all?
Yeah.
So like, I think, who did they have on? I think they had Adam Buxton was on that, and Adam Buxton is he's like a podcast purist and pure audio, and he doesn't like the video format. But I don't know. I was chopping an onion for dinner, and I had the video on, not just the sound. So I don't know. It's just where it's going. So jump on board or don't. It's up to you. But I certainly think that that's the way it's going.
And obviously, yes, you've got a lot on the next couple of months. Are you already thinking about beyond August and what's going to happen for Coco, and indeed if there's going to be any other characters that you kind of think, or is just Coco just take up all your time and energy?
Coco is now like, I'd say like 90% of my like creative work at the moment, which is actually, that's a pretty cool thing to say. I just it's like, because I've done so many gigs, all different types of gigs as different people, different live interactive theatre, all this kind of stuff. So I'm just doing this thing and keeping on going, and I'm keeping planting new seeds. Like I think keeping things fresh and new is really important. Otherwise people get bored. Being innovative, and I like people. I had this idea to do other, like I could do like set up a new channel for all my other characters and stuff like that, but I'm dividing my time, and the Coco thing is combining my interests, my passions, my abilities. And someone said this phrase once to me, which was like, if you feel there's more juice to squeeze, then squeeze it. And Coco, I think I barely tapped the surface, to be honest. Whereas the other comedy characters, I could do stuff and build a following with that and maybe sell some live comedy shows, but particularly with the business side of things as well. Like, I think the Coco thing as a brand, as, potential, that there's a lot there, in a way other things I've done don't have. So I'm gonna, just keep exploring, keep planting seeds, and we'll see. But I think it's going to be more gallery tours. I'd love to explore, YouTube is the great frontier at the moment, isn't it? I'll probably be late to the party setting up a Coco channel, but exploring more like what I'm really, really missing at the moment is the time to be able to write historical inspired comedy sketches or slightly longer form comedy, like a comedy kind of series or something, to be able to collaborate with other performers, because I'm doing so much work on my own at the moment. But if someone else could play Henry VIII, or someone else could play, I don't know, Elizabeth I, I think we could have a lot of fun and maybe build some sort of thing there. And so that's what I'd like to test out as well, is pushing my writing, my storytelling abilities into a basically like sort of adventure comedy kind of format.
Thank you so much for your time. I don't have to finish if you just wanted to kind of do a quick 30 seconds just to talk about the show, where people can find you in Edinburgh in August.
Yeah. So this August, I will be performing 2 shows. By day, I'll be doing gallery tours at the Scottish National Galleries. It's a story of Scotland and scandal. And by night, I will be inviting audiences to join Coco on a time-traveling adventure, because Coco has lost something precious and she needs the audience's help to get it back. And it's going to be quite a ride, and I'm very, very excited and look forward to seeing people at one or both of those.
And with that, when you're doing a pitch of flowering or whatever, do you have like a little 10-second thing, beyond "come see my show"? It's "come help Coco" or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I could talk about, I've done I think I've done five fringes. When it comes to flyering, can I just say a couple of things on this, because I get really
Okay.
When it comes to flyering, don't ask yes or no questions. Would you like to come and see the show? No, and then you've lost them. I look for people who I think might be a good fit for the show. I can do the Royal Mile, sure, but if they're sitting down, they can't run away. So and chatting with someone, and the most important thing is actually making an authentic connection, and having a conversation. Because if you enjoy each other's vibe, they'll be highly likely to come to your show if they're able to. If you do need to just play the numbers game and sling out 500 flyers in a session, then having a fun catchphrase, dressing up in character, is an absolute winner. But yeah, I treat flyering as a performance, because I really think it is. And I'm probably going to be doing more of it this Fringe. Yeah.
Thanks to Max for coming onto the podcast. You can find out more details in the show notes about where to find Max, both online and at the Fringe. If you enjoyed this, check out our other episodes of variety comedians, musicians, authors and others in creative industries talking about trying to make creativity pay. Thanks for listening.